inside, it's the most modern motorcycle factory anywhere.
On one end, you have a bunch of bins and boxes and parts, and the other end, they're rolling them off and starting them up and checking out the engine to make sure it doesn't leak any oil. So, fascinating thing.
The engine gets put together, and then the frame, comes together, and then the body parts go on it. There's an assembly process that can be analyzed and is rational.
An assembly process that is uniquely rational in a BMW sort of way.
Lots of people, lots of high-tech machinery, and it just looks very German. It's like the inside of a watch in there, it seems like to me.
More than 40 computer-controlled machines grind, mill, and polish engine parts to extremely critical tolerances. There's no other way to build a motorcycle engine that can run for 200,000 miles or more without missing a beat.
There's just something about the BMW factory that's just a little bit more, it's hard to describe. You just have the feeling of precision while you're in there.
This machine is a giant mechanical equivalent of an electric toothbrush. It hones, or fine polishes, the cylinder liners inside the crankcase before the engine moves to one of 5 highly specialized automated workstations. This is where state-of-the-art robots apply a bead of sealing material on engine parts with a precision that could never be matched or repeated by human hands.
Everything always happened in a precise way there, more so than some other factories.
But people still do all of the final engine assembly. 145 people work in the engine department, and on average, it takes 2 hours to build a K-bike motor from start to finish. Throughout the building process, wireless data transmissions monitor everything to ensure what most companies would call quality control. At BMW, they call it pride.
Everybody in that factory knows they're making BMW motorcycles. They're proud of it. They are riders themselves. Most of the people I know there have been there for many, many years.
The frame is another major step in the K-bike build process. 2 lasers cut out 20 different pieces of aluminum. An automated jig holds all the different parts together in perfect alignment and then moves the frame into position so robots can weld it all together. Germans have long had a reputation for achievements in science and engineering. The factory paint shop is a great example. Here, they combine Teutonic technology with classic German craftsmanship. With water streaming down the wall to control overspray and air pollution, 5 computer-operated robots paint 70 different shaped parts in one of more than 30 colors. But the pinstripes on BMWs are all done by hand.
They're not the type of brush that you're used to from watercolors, where you have a long wooden part and then just a tiny little brush. It's almost half and half, and the brush actually has to hold a lot of paint. And so you get the right consistency, and it's a very long brush, the hairs. And you lay it on, and then you pull it. And you have to do it consistently, you have to have the right pressure. You push too hard, and you get a squish. You push too little, and the line gets narrower. And the ladies there do this by hand.
It's the combination of humans and machinery and noise and the close confines of the old brick building, and it's just kind of a neat place to visit. Kind of a dichotomy of old and new stuffed into one really cool place.
An electric suspension track is the key to BMW's final assembly line. The large yellow structures, called C-hooks, automatically move each bike. Each technician can program his station to put the C-hook and bike at whatever position they find the most comfortable.
It's just funny to see motorcyclists hanging from a rack and moving slowly and becoming, going from bare frame with an engine to wheels to bodywork and then a finished product so quickly, and all these people scurrying around and attaching parts here and there.
As the bikes move through the factory, wheels are installed, exhaust systems fitted, then air ducts that will help the engine breathe. Bolts are screwed and tightened. And then, each new motorcycle gets its first taste of fuel. Finally, the remaining body panels from the paint shop are installed, and after spending 100 minutes on a C-hook, a brand new BMW is ready for its final test.
The bikes come off the line, they go into a proof, a testing center, they're put on the rollers, they make sure everything works. There are interesting parts that you see as a layman that you go, wow, I didn't know they do that.
The computer readout says, Prüfstand bereit, which translates to, the test stand is ready. This is the first time the new bike has been off its giant C-hook. Now, it's in the BMW test chamber, where one of 9 people who spend their entire day riding new bikes will run the new motorcycle for up to 60 miles without it ever moving an inch. The entire time, computers measure and monitor everything from the engine's performance to how well BMW's patented heated hand grips will keep your fingers warm if it's cold outside.
The Germans have always had a more practical approach towards, shall we say, their entire life. I mean, the climate up there is pretty harsh, and so you want something that will start in the winter, and you like heated hand grips on a motorcycle.
In recent years, BMW's practical approach towards life has been shared between BMW motorcycles and BMW automobiles. Designers for bikes and cars work side by side.
BMW is the only company in the world that has automotive and motorcycle design under one roof. Where you are now is actually right next to the automotive studio, and this was started in 1993. We took the motorcycle design group, which was then separate, and we combined them. One idea, of course, was to make the best use of our resources, but it was also to inspire and to have competition. And so if our colleagues come by and say, well, what are you doing that for? Could you do it this way?
I think the biggest thing is just that cultural rub-off. It really does have a big effect on how they put motorcycles together and how they design them and how they build them. And you can tell when you're there.
Like the very first BMW, the latest bikes from the Bayerische Motorenwerke seem most at home in Bavaria. There are countless curving roads that run through fairy tale villages as they lead their way up to the Alps.
It is as close to you know, a dream of motorcycling as you can find, because the Alpine roads are just superb. I mean, they just twist around. They just twist around forever, because the Alps, my God, they make a big loop there of about 1,000 miles from the French Riviera over to Slovenia. And you just go on endlessly, sort of going around curves.
Curving roads that connect to the other part of BMW's homeland that's uniquely German. The Autobahn, a highway that has long stretches without any speed limit.
If you haven't ridden the Autobahn, you've got to do it. I'm going right around 135 miles an hour, because why not? I mean, you're allowed to, and let's go. So we're going, and up in front of us, a big Mercedes wagon comes on the freeway up in front of us, and we kind of catch up to it, and there's some kids sitting in the back of the wagon facing backward, and their dad must have said, wave goodbye, because they both went like this, and the wagon went whoop away from us, and I went, God bless Germany. Seriously, unbelievable.